Hello guys, Deathroid88 back after an extremely long time, and I guess I'm going to do Rimworld now. I have always liked this game. I have no idea why exactly I decided to choose it now instead of before, other than the fact that I bought it like 2 or 3 months ago. I've just been screwing around with that and a bunch of other games off and on. And I've also been busy the last month and a half. I think that's probably why I haven't posted videos. Just been stupid busy with the end of school and then vacation and then family issues and all this other fun stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and play Rimworld. Alright, so normally in Rimworld, I wiped out everything I had before just because I wanted to show you what it's like. Normally you just go ahead and create a new world. You can randomize the seed up here, and then you can go ahead and generate it. That normally takes a second. Sometimes if you have a faster computer, it's going to work a little bit better. But it gives you this world here, and essentially these are different biomes. Everything from like an ice sheet, actually this is tundra, and they have like forest, a boreal forest, a temperate forest. They have deserts. I think they have, yep, arid shrublands, and they have like rainforest. And then they also have different elevations too. If you sort of zoom in, you can sort of see flat land. You can see like hilly area and mountainous areas, sort of what that represents. We're just going to go ahead and save and finish that. So now we have a world to make a colony on. So we're going to make a new colony. We're going to go with the classic mode, and challenge was the way that it was originally set up. I've been playing this game for a very long time. I've been just testing it off and on. And I did this before they even had any type of tier system set up. So it was always set on challenging, so it would be, you'd die pretty quick, but there's a lot more stuff they've added since then. And we also do have these other two modes. This is sort of like base building, and then this, it just throws random stuff at you. You could just have nothing for like a long amount of time, and then all of a sudden you just get destroyed. I have done that. That is quite interesting. And I guess our planet's name is Shidivixv, so we'll choose that planet. It's the very technical name for it. Now what I like to do is I like to challenge myself sometimes, and I go to like the deserts and stuff, but I think just to start this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose a flat area. It has a northern coast, and it's going to be a temperate forest. So then we have access to wood, and we have access to like marble and granite. And we have a decent growing period there. See, if you go up north, like way north, your growing period is absolutely never. So we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and go here. I actually have sandstone too. So we're going to select that site. Now you sort of get to choose your people here, and they sort of have different things they can do. So sometimes you see these guys, they have a childhood and adulthood, and that adds to these skills. It also can disable other skills. So let's say being a tunneler, you can't do any type of research, crafting, tailoring, or smithing. I don't want that, so I just randomize it again. And I sort of need, I already have someone that's good to grow stuff, so we're not going to worry about that. They're also going to be good at growing, but they're also going to be our all-around do everything else guy. So we're going to sort of go for a researcher, and I'll show you that why here in just a second. And engineer is not bad. I don't think you're okay at research. Normally a scientist is better, but then this will also give us a second guy to help build. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and start. So we have Kaneki, Pearl, and Silid, I think. I think those are the names. Now it's going to take a minute to generate everything on the one that I do because I'm just running on an older computer. As you guys play this, it should be faster. Alright, I'm not sure what Mechanoid Nerd does. It probably just adds some skills, but hopefully it has something to do with the actual mechanoids. Now see the game loaded. The three of you awake in cryosleep sarcophagus to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later you land on an unknown rim world. As pieces of shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. Now basically the whole goal of the game right now is to survive, and I think I've never gotten to the point of building a spaceship, but I believe you can build a spaceship and then do something else. So that's what my plan is going to be here. I'm not sure how this difficulty is going to treat me. I have played it and been somewhat successful, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. Now we're going to wait for them to land. Alright, now we're going to pause. You have absolutely no clothing, do you? He has pants. Okay. So you are pretty good at shooting. So you're going to get the survival rifle. You're a settler. So you're going to get the pistol, and then you're going to get a knife. Alright. Now what you can see here is they sort of have equipment, then they have their characteristics and everything, so you can sort of see if they get better at growing, this level will increase. Also, over time, if you don't use this, then their growing decreases, or their skill level decreases on it. You have needs, which this is sort of their mood and everything. So right now, they're all positive and everything. You sort of see they need food, some of them, the rest goes down. Joy, there's something new they added in that sort of allows them to take walks, play with stuff, all that kind of thing. Comfort is like comfortable furniture, sleeping on the ground versus sleeping in a bed. And then they sort of have beauty, so if there's tons of blood around, beauty goes way down. Space is the other one too, because space is the sense of not going crazy and not becoming, not having cabin fever. So those are basically what we have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find somewhere we can start out at. Now normally I try to build a fortress, and the main reason I don't normally like doing this, I don't like doing these types of maps is because you have these water places in here. Not that they're bad, but you can't really build anything on them. So we have this area up here, and we have a geothermal vent, which is going to be very useful. So what we're going to do is, this seems like our best spot to go ahead and like survive and essentially build like a fortress. So we're going to put down 3 sleeping spots, and this is like, it's under furniture. You have like the regular sleeping spots, you have the standard beds and the royal beds. The royal beds are the best ones for getting sleep, and they're going to make people the happiest. For right now, we're just simply going to build this little area here. We're going to do a simple stockpile area, like that. And then we're going to try and build like a little wooden hut, I guess, would be how I would clarify that. Alright, now if you see all of these, they have the X on them now, so no one's allowed to touch those. You can undo that for a lot of the stuff around here. I don't know why by default it's set that way. Sort of seems a little time consuming to go through here and check everything. But essentially you have all these resources you can use right off the bat. And the other thing some of the resources have too is, if you look at them, they have this like health bar here. Over time, as these things sit outside, it affects their quality. Now, I don't think they've implemented much as far as quality other than with clothing, but it does affect food and wood. Not as much the silver or the metal or the rocks or anything like that. Well, rocks do have it, but rocks don't. They don't degrade over time. Then we also have, okay, that helps a lot. That's plastisteel. That essentially lets us build a spaceship, so that's going to be really helpful. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and unpause. And actually, one other thing I want to add is a growing zone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 basic growing zones right now. We're going to do like a short-term crop and a long-term crop. So short-term is going to be sort of like potato plants. They have more short-term ones than that. And then they have corn. Corn survives a lot better outside than do potatoes. So we're going to use corn as one field, and we're going to use potatoes in the other. Now you do notice with the growing zones, I can't really do it on sand at all. So if you're in a desert, the spots where there is land that you can grow stuff on becomes very valuable. And as you see here, we don't have as many issues. You do see these areas with rocks where we can't really build anything. But other than that, we should be okay. So now initially what we're going to do, first night we're probably going to sleep outside. So if we go to overview here, it gives us what everyone does. So we have a doctor, which is good. Everyone can be a patient. Don't really need anyone to flick. This is for switches and stuff. And then you have like wardens, so like if you have prisoners. We don't really need a cook right this second. Okay, so you're not going to do anything because we have one person constructing and repairing stuff. They're also growing. I'm going to ignore that. Actually, I'll leave it on for right now since we aren't really building anything. Mining, I'll turn that off for that one person. And then all I want him to do, our engineer Kunuki, or Kunukei, I don't know how to pronounce that. We're just going to have him constantly haul stuff. So essentially he's going to spend the first day just hauling items from around the map back to our base. And, well, it's not really a base, but sort of our little area. So as this goes, you sort of do have these speed buttons. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit. As you can see, their walk speed can be reduced on these a little bit. But basically what they're doing right now is they're going to start growing a bunch of stuff for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on a little bit more growing zone to here, just so we use up all the land we can. So now, okay, they're getting a little sick from hypersleep. Health is the other tab, I'm not sure if I covered that, but you can sort of see it affects everything, and then it gives you, they have bad sight, they have bad manipulation, moving, all that, probably just because they came out of cryosleep. And I think the other two are going to be like that a little bit. And then as you can see, some of them too, with age, they have like bad backs, so they work slower and everything, which isn't always good. That's one cool thing that they have added. But what he is going to do is he's going to keep finding the closest items, and he's just going to keep hauling them back to base. So that's all we're going to really do for the first couple days, probably. And then at some point, you also have this research menu here, where you can research all these different things. Now the newest things are the IEDs, and then there's like traps you can set. But stone cutting is the first one I'm going to want. So as soon as I can, I'm going to build a stone cut, or I'm going to build a research bench to research stone cutting. And then as you can see, I have sandstone near me. Alright, so they're working pretty fast on this. Now the other bad part too, or at least one thing I have noticed, is animals. They seem to like to come and eat your food. So like since we're growing here, we're going to attract a lot of the animals around here up to where we're at. Now I don't see, here's a couple of herds of animals, but I'm not seeing a lot of animals at all on this. Alright, and so everyone's sleeping now except for the engineer. I'm not sure where he's at. He's off doing his own thing. And as you can see, he's currently going to go rest. Now why? Okay. So we sort of chose some bad people because they're older, so they're all going to work quite slower. Basically, our youngest person, I think, is our settler. Okay. So your youngest person's 42, which isn't bad, but normally you can start off with people around like the age of 19 or 20. Now, if you go into structure here, it gives you different things you can use. Like it says steel wall right now. You can actually change that to wood, and you can build a wooden wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a simple little base at first. And I just want a regular wooden door on it, so we'll throw that there. This is just sort of going to be our temporary sleeping quarters. Alright, so she's going to start building all of that, and then you're going to finish up growing. Now it is in May, so this is the time of year to grow, so essentially we have to stockpile food for winter. And now since she has nothing to do, she's probably going to start hauling stuff, right? Yes. So they sort of just go, the way their orders work is these are the most important, and then these are the least important. So unless you have someone set to only research, they're almost never going to research. Now eventually at some point I'm probably going to turn this into a food storage area, and then we'll build a bigger base over here for like where everyone's going to sleep. And then we'll probably fortify off this area here. I think that would be my plan. And then we're going to use that to essentially, this is going to be our base here. Alright, now they're slowly running out of food, just because there's not that much left, or at least they haven't hauled that much in. and it will notify us over here if our food gets too low. Alright, so now we do have an indoor area, and you can sort of see this is outdoors. If you look over here in this little bar, it says outdoors here and indoor here. It gives you temperature too. Now if it gets really hot, people can start um, either passing out or dying of hyperthermia. So that means essentially they overheat and they die. And then that can also happen, hypothermia can happen in the winter, where they get too cold and they just pass out and then they die. Which is sort of why this is sort of a big rush right now. Food is sort of our most important priority, and shelter is our second most important priority, I believe, in my opinion. And then from there, I just sort of try and build. Normally when I build the shelters, though, I try and build them out of stone because they are not flammable then, or at least not as flammable. And that makes life a lot easier when fighting fires. Because then you have, so we have granite, we have marble, and we have sandstone are the three primary ones we have. Looks like we have a lot of sandstone, at least in the local vicinity. And there are sometimes these little areas that they're shelter areas, essentially. And the only bad part about these is they can contain ancient, like robots, mechanoids, and mechanoids can kill, like one giant mechanoid centipede can kill like 5 or 6 colonists very quickly. So I'm going to completely ignore it for now. Alright, you're going to go and grab this metal. Okay. So now as you can see, we sort of have everything in our stockpile right here. So we have a lot of wood. We have quite a bit of steel. And then we have silver. And packaged survival meals. Alright, so next we're going to deconstruct that. To deconstruct this. And then I think she's just sort of doing whatever she wants to do right now. Alright, so then we're going to have some limestone. And normally what I try and do is I try and use 1 or 2 different types of stone, and then I sell everything else off because you can make a lot of money off stone. Alright, now it tells you that we have no way of preparing food, so we either need a nutrient paste dispenser or a cook stove. Now normally I go the route of cook stove. Nutrient paste dispenser can be better when it comes to just spending less time making food. But the bad part about it is then everyone gets mad at you because then you don't have decent food. Alright, so now what we're going to do real quick is with wood, we're going to plan out our little shelter area. I normally try and give them like 4x4 rooms. And then that should give them plenty of space. Because they'll be a little claustrophobic in that. And actually we're going to make them 5 by... Yeah, I think 5 by 5 would be our best bet. Then we're going to go ahead and cancel everything in there, that. And then I try and do hallways of about 3. It just all seems symmetrical to me. So that's the way that I do it. So hopefully we're going to sort of build this up, and we're going to make it for 4 people initially. And then we'll make it for 6, just so that we can handle enough people. And then we'll add in, this will be like the entry spot here. Now we'll just do regular wooden doors throughout this. Cancel that, add back in the wooden wall, and then we're good. So now they have orders to build something. And this will be a decent sized area. Normally what I do is I do stone with either like a wooden floor, or you can actually research carpets. So that's normally what I try and do. Alright, so we'll let them keep going. And the other thing you can do too, that I'm not going to worry about right now, is you can build up. Normally what I do is I add in like a steel bed. You can add in different chairs and stuff, and eventually I'm going to add some of these in. But for right now this seems to be fine. We're going to cancel this, because we're going to cancel it that far. And we're sort of going to leave that as representation. We're going to rebuild this, because we want room here for security, so we'll do that. That looks decently symmetrical. Actually, we're only going to make it for 4 initially. Sort of going to leave it as like a small little area, because we probably will have more people eventually, but we can build in more here. Now the bad part is this stone area here, we're going to eventually have to remove it if I want to build a decent sized base. We're just going to leave Crash Town for the name of the first one. If you guys want names for the other ones that we build, then you can go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I'll probably be asking at the end of any series or anything like that, but at any time you can comment names for those. Alright, and then also you can sort of see here too, we have a limit as to where we can build. So that's one other thing to note. Now since we don't have anyone doing anything important, we're going to order people to chop a bunch of wood, because we're going to need a lot. And then if we go here, we need to see who has plant cutting on, so we'll leave those 2 people on plant cutting. And then hopefully they can chop enough of this wood to build this very quickly. And actually they're going to focus on it first. Alright, they're going to keep moving those around. And as you can see, the reason that I'm doing this is if you go into their needs, they're sharing a bedroom, which is a -5 penalty, and sleeping on the ground is also another -5. And disturbed sleep's another -4. So we can take about 14 points, we can add about 14% to their mood there, just based off what improvements we can do. And that's going to be for everyone. And sometimes those stack, so that doesn't help either. So that's why I normally try and focus on shelter right away, because then at least we have a shelter for people to go into. We'll probably have to add in some electricity here at some point, but we don't have that researched yet. So what we're going to add in, furniture real quick. It's actually, we're going to do a wooden one. Still requires some steel. I'm going to throw it right there. And in the summer, we don't really have to worry about being outside because of the temperature. Sorry about that. In the winter, though, it can get really cold, and then it can be an issue, because normally it'll probably be another couple months before we have to worry about temperature in the summer. Alright, so they got the base decently, or this little area decently done. Alright, and there's one room. Alright, so we have a group of visitors, which is okay. And we seem to be slowly getting somewhere at least. So it's a decent start. And we have a lot of metal, so that helps too. And sometimes you'll notice that animals might get trapped in rooms and stuff. But normally I try and just kill off as many animals and keep them out of my base when I can. Alright, so he's still hauling food, and we still have a lot of survival meals. Yep. So you need, yeah, you probably need some food. And you're resting, but I'm going to have you equip that and prioritize hauling those. Okay. You're going to equip that. Sometimes I have issues with this all working together with me. And you're going to haul that now. So now everyone has a weapon still. Eventually, the hope is to have an armory or something built into our base. Alright, there, and that person's going to finish up building. Maybe. Nope, they're going to relax for a little bit. Alright, so at least we're getting a lot of wood. Alright, they're still here. So he's just sleeping. Alright, so that is one bed we can add in. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'll make them wooden beds because then it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get the materials for it. We're just sort of going to let them keep doing what they normally do. Now sometimes you can see we get these other notifications that are red, because yellow is normally like a disaster, but it doesn't really affect us. Blue is normally something good, and then red is normally something bad. So you can see a squirrel's gone mad, it's going to attack everyone it sees. Probably have to... Okay. Yeah, you're going to have to go and attack the squirrel. There we go. And you just have a minor bite, so I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, and we're going to let everything resume. Now it says a colonist needs treatment, but something like that isn't too worrisome to me. They're not really bleeding out that much, and they should be able to heal pretty quickly without any type of medical care. Now if we look at our doctor, that is in fact the injured person. I'm going to make my engineer a doctor too. Okay. I want you to treat her. And we haven't hauled any medicine over. I don't know why we haven't done that. But I guess they're going to do it now, or at least try. Let's see, yep, working on his way back. Now you could speed it up a lot more. We've only been through about 5 days at this point. Okay, so there's only 10 days in each month now instead of 12. So they've changed that. Alright, that person healed before we could get to him, so. Now it says you only have 5 full food bars. That's dangerously low. So we should probably take care of that here soon. Alright, and that is the beginning of day 6, I guess. So I guess I'm going to call that the end of the video here. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Sorry I've been gone so long. I've just had way too much stuff to deal with. I'm going to try and post videos every day this summer. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. I'm going to warn you guys in advance. But I'm going to try and do that. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.